Welcome to WO50 Women Over 50 Embody Wisdom and Wellness.
Well, I sure hope we do. My name is Corinne, and I'm here with my BFF, Eddi. And today, our topic, drum roll, please. This is a really cute title. Mushrooms and weed from the sea, the magic combo of and homegrown from Mother Earth.
Yeah, what a beautiful topic. And I was so excited to share the seaweed foraging group, the Seven Fathoms group out in Greats Cove, and the beautiful product they have. And you get to hear about the medicinal properties of seaweed and mushrooms, and a little bit on the other stuff, the magic ones.
Yeah, we went into a little bit of the psilocybin as well. So if you've been curious about seaweed and or mushrooms, we are here to share with you everything that we know. Hope you enjoy listening.
Bon appetit.
Hello.
Hello. How's my friend?
I am good. I'm good. I'm excited that we're getting some more topics and podcasts in the bank, because after a little summer vacation, I was like, I only have one left.
Oh,
So
wow,
we're doing
yeah.
a double whammy this week. So we recorded one on Monday. Now we're recording one today.
Yes, and they're fun and they're informative and they're
Catchy
relative.
relevant, and they're catchy titles. This is one of my favorite titles. I think it is. So today we're talking about mushrooms and weed from the sea, the
Yeah, who
magic
came up with
combo.
that? Who came up
That
with
was
that?
you. That was you, Eddi. That was you. Absolutely. Yeah.
The
Because you
magic
said,
combo.
yeah. And the
Yeah.
way we came out, do you want to share with how you came up with that? Like what you were inspired, how you were inspired?
Well, this summer I went on a little adventure. I did a magazine shoot with some wonderful people here in Newfoundland, and Gypsy Sea Adventures, which are out. They take people out. They're out in Clarenville area,
Mm-hmm.
and they take people out to like different places like Deer Harbor, and it's a bit remote because there's like places in Newfoundland that have been resettled. So one of the treats on this whole adventure, because it was Pi and Al and this gal Sandra, who's the publisher, brought everybody together, and one of the groups was Seven Fathoms, and they're a seaweed foraging couple. There's their husband and wife, and they have a 15-year-old daughter, and they're wonderful, Courtney, Terrence, and Phoenix, and they're just beautiful people. And we went out there, and I even got on a sup board and got out into the water. And of course, there was photographers, and they're taking pictures because they're doing an article on them, and I'm doing the wellness piece about
So
things.
they're doing an article on you too in the magazine
Yes,
that's called what, Pie Magazine?
Pi NL. So it's relaxed luxury. So it's
Mhm.
kind of, she's really great. She's creative and innovative, and brings people together. And it's also really good networking. So I
Mhm.
hadn't met them. I knew about them because Strat had bought they have a skincare line that's made from seaweed extract, and he used it for like topical, just dry skin
Because he
and
was having problems with his, what, last time he
with
was
his,
here, like eczema
yeah,
or something on his
yeah.
cheeks or something,
Yeah,
right?
he's suffered
Yeah.
his whole life with
Yeah.
eczema, so
Mm-hmm.
or eczema, whatever way we want to pronounce it,
Uh-huh.
duodenum, whatever. So
Potato, potato.
yeah, tomato. So they were out there, and so Courtney and I went out on the sup boards, and of course they took pictures and everything, but we didn't know they were taking pictures.
What's a
And
sup board? Sorry.
it's a little stand up, upright paddle board. So, we got in our swimsuits. It was a gorgeous day. We're out in Deer Harbor, and, it was just a remote area where the Gypsy Sea Adventures took us. And we get out on the supboard, and she takes me into this seaweed patch because they forage, and it's like a candy store for them. And I'm like looking at all the stuff, and I put my feet into it, and they're grabbing like different layers of it. And anyway, one of the strains was called bladderwrack. And of course I had known about bladderwrack and the healing properties,
Mm-hmm.
and we ate some of it. Like, I had never eaten seaweed out of the water, but there's hundreds of species, but they're all not edible. But this one particular one was. So, I bit into it, and I'm like, okay, well, I guess this is how years ago they found out what worked and what didn't. Because if the person eating this portion of the seaweed died, then you don't eat that one. You eat the other one. So and they did that with twigs and leaves and flowers too, right?
Mhm.
So we went on and we went to different places and they picked up like layers of seaweed and out in their beautiful place, they actually do seaweed baths too. So this was really fun because one of the models, they did a photo shoot and they put her in the bath and they covered her with the seaweed around her neck, her body. And oh my God, her skin like was so soft. And she said she slept like a baby that night. And of course, these guys are like, yeah, of course you did. We've been studying the bioactive compounds in this. And so, one thing led to another. And we talked, I met with these guys and spoke a lot about seaweed and the medicinal properties. And they're always reformulating and making their product cleaner and cleaner and cleaner. But they have like scalp treatment now, stuff all made out of this seaweed compounds, right?
Mhm.
Bioactive compounds. And they get like the hair growth, the testimonials are huge. It's all over their website. And they have skin care, body cream, sprays for scalp for thickening hair and or they say mermaid, getting mermaid hair.
Mhm. That's and do they ship international, do you know?
I'm
Or
not
is-
sure. I'll
Yeah,
have to
or just
check and
Canada.
see.
Okay, because I'll have to look.
She,
So we will link the website below. It's a .ca.
yeah,
It's 7 fathoms, the number 7 fathoms seaweed skincare.ca. Yeah.
yeah, she's from the U.S. actually, and she
Mm.
met her husband. He's from Old Perlican, which is close, out 2.5 hours away, close to Greats
Mhm.
Cove where they live.
Mhm.
And they met, yeah, when they were traveling. And anyway, they end up back here in this community, and it's really exciting, like to have that going on because it's so healing for the body. And I've got a
Mhm.
little package going to you actually with some of the stuff in it.
Oh, it's your
Yeah,
birthday coming up. I've got a package getting on that
I
I've
know,
been
but
filling up for you.
we always do that though. But
Mhm.
no, we've always said what goes on your skin goes into your body. And it's
That's
really
right.
important that we
That's right.
know what we're putting on our skin.
That's
And,
right.
we want less and less stuff to detox out. I mean, a lot of the
Mhm.
environment stuff we don't have control over, but if we can get out as, much as we can and put less on our body that we have to
Mhm.
get out, well, it's so good, right?
Mhm.
So yeah, so that's exciting. I really love the work they're doing, and they even have a little restaurant out there.
Really?
And yeah, her cooking amazing, like unbelievable. The meal, and they incorporate seaweed and like fresh berries, and they make these teas, and so it's a treat to go out there. So we drove out last weekend and said we're coming out just for a visit, and they cooked us up a meal and she said, I said, my God, this is amazing. Like, how do you describe it? She said, well, I just put the menu up on the website and I list what we're having. And then at the bottom, I say, if this appeals to you, make a reservation.
Yeah. And how does she have the time for all that? That's because a restaurant is a whole ball of wax.
It
And
is.
I wonder if they're open seasonally too, because,
Well, they're isolated, and I think they're not
yeah,
open like 7 days a week. I think it's
right,
just by
right.
reservation only because
Yeah,
it is unique. It's remote.
yeah.
It's beautiful out there. It's a
What a
part of the
special.
island. Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a really special treat. And,
Hmm.
he's an artist and their daughter's an artist and just really creative. Like I just love that. And they forage this.
Hmm.
They've done amazing work. So,
Hmm.
I'm
So,
really
so seaweed
I'm
is
proud of
rich
them.
in, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. It's wonderful they're doing. And so
Yep.
seaweed is rich in nutrients. So do you know like, I'm wondering if the one they bathe in is rich in magnesium. Is that why the muscles are
Well,
relaxed and stuff?
Well, it's loaded with nutrients, right?
Hmm.
So what they use is, and you'll see that, and I noticed this ingredient over the years of looking at products, and I'm not sure if I'm going to pronounce it right, but it's called fucoidan, and
Hmm.
fucoidan um, is kind of an anti-inflammatory, right? So
Hmm.
it goes on the skin, but it's a humectant. So what it's doing is it's drawing moisture into the skin and it helps your skin hold on to moisture. And
Mhm.
that's the biggest problem as we get older is that we don't hold on to the moisture. So, and when you put this on your skin, like you can feel the difference. Like even the
Mhm.
spray. I had a patient in my office the other day, and her it was really itchy. She has to wear compression stockings,
Mhm.
and her skin was itchy, breaking out. And I just sprayed her skin, and she called me the next day. She goes, "This is unbelievable. This
Mhm.
it soothed my skin. Like I got like the whole day relief,
Mhm.
right?" So it's really important, and it's antimicrobial, right? Yeah, it's got a lot of healing
And
properties.
it's
So,
high in fiber as well, right? So when you eat it, it's
mhm,
high in fiber.
yep,
So it's
it promotes collagen production. Like
mhm.
it improves your elasticity of the skin.
Mhm.
So, yeah,
And then you always have spouted it for so many years for iodine and thyroid function.
yeah. So there's different types of seaweed. So, like there's kelp, dulse, wakame, nori, and we're familiar with the seaweeds that, make sushi, right? So
Right.
they use
Kombu, right? It helps you have gas. So you put it in your beans and it keeps you
Mhm.
from gas, helps digestion.
Yep, yep. And that's the brown one. And kombu is really high in iodine. So, we have to be careful with the amounts of iodine that we use,
Mm-hmm.
especially nutritionally. So
Mm-hmm.
when we eat it. So, the on average about 150 is the gauge for iodine. So
150
that's
milligrams per day.
micrograms per gram. So
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of like a little UG after it,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and so 150, and you get that in kelp capsules, or you get it in a little thing of seaweed chips. Some people use seaweed sprinkles and put it on their salad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so we buy it dry, like wakame, dulse, nori. Some people like to take capsules.
Mm-hmm.
Some people, they make a broth. I mean, they served a beautiful seaweed
Mm.
broth that
Oh,
that
that'd be
was
so good because I can't do bone broth. I don't do bone broth, so I could do.
because yeah,
Oh.
seaweed broth, right? And it's loaded with minerals, a lot of electrolytes, so there's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of nutrients in it. Like it's a
Mm-hmm.
superfood. And
Mm-hmm.
we need to get those superfoods in because
Mm-hmm.
iodine is needed for the thyroid gland.
Mm-hmm.
And when we're after, post menopause, our thyroid starts to get a little hypo,
Yeah.
and we need to get a little more iodine in.
Yeah. So it's a hypo means that it's low
Low
functioning, right?
thyroid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Low
because I've got
functioning.
the my compounding pharmacist put me on a one it's pig thyroid,
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
a little vegetarian. It's a tiny, tiny pill, but I feel like it is helping a little bit. I'd kind of rather take. Would do you think the seaweed would do the same thing or
Well,
not?
it's not as concentrated as that. So that
Mm,
gives you, quite a concentrated thyroid
mm-hmm.
support, kind of like what Synthroid, what the medical
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
version of that would do. It's
Mm-hmm.
hard to take that much seaweed. Like
Mm-hmm.
kombu, when people do kombu, like a lot of it, you can get
Mm-hmm.
over 2,000 compared to 150.
Mm-hmm. That you need, right? Because that's it's too much. Yeah.
That's too
Yeah,
much. And
because when
then,
you
yeah,
making beans, you just use a very small amount of kombu in a huge pot of it. So you don't need to
yep.
use that much. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's from the sea. It's like seaweed is so important. It's a sea vegetable. A sea
Yeah.
vegetable.
Sea
Like
vegetable.
this
Yeah.
is needed for our gut, for
Mm-hmm.
digestion. If we ferment it,
Mm-hmm.
it's already set up and ready to provide so much nutrients for the gut,
Mm-hmm.
for our microorganisms. It's
Mm-hmm.
it's food for them.
Mm-hmm.
It's like giving the dog a bone to chew on. This is good stuff.
That's great. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. Well, that's exciting. That's
Hmm.
exciting. So Mother Earth and Mother Ocean in this case has so much to help us and share with us. Mm-hmm.
Well, and the other thing, with when you look at like fruits, vegetables, protein, grains, fibers, fats, all this kind of stuff, then we look at seaweed, it's its own little world, and then you got mushrooms and it's its own little world.
Yeah. All you have
It's
to do
not a
is watch. It's not a what?
it's not a tree, it's not a plant, it's not a veggie, it's not a
Yeah.
fruit, it's not, right? It's a
Mm-hmm.
mushroom.
Mm-hmm. Well, it is fungus.
Yeah.
It's in the fungus category, but it's magical. I've been had a passion for the mushrooms for quite a while now, and I'll link the bottom, but Fantastic Fungi is one of the best documentaries on Netflix. It's just a really quick hour-long documentary about the amazingness that mushrooms have. So
Mm.
there's the mushroom that you like if you pick up a piece of wood, and the white stuff is the mycelium, that's the root, and it's transforming uh matter into like a solid matter, so a piece of wood, a dead animal, transforming it into the earth, into soil. And so once you watch it and you see what it does, it also is the communicator too. So if when a tree or a plant, there's mycelium mushrooms at the base of it, and then if a tree is sick, and it needs a nutrient, it'll not, the mushroom mycelium will send the message that it needs, and it'll also go find the plant, the nutrient that it needs, and then bring it back to the tree or plant. So
That's
and
wild, isn't
yeah,
it?
yeah.
Yeah.
And so, they've done studies, like Paul Stamets is like the major guy on mushrooms. And so
Mhm.
I'll link his stuff to it. Host Defense is his mushroom company that you can buy a lot of these mushroom supplements that Eddi's going to talk about and that we're going to talk about here. And
Yeah.
he's done just studies for years and years. He's the mushroom guy. And he's in
Yeah.
the movie Fantastic Fungi. And
Yeah, and I
so,
love that. Like I love the description of it too because they have their own network. It's
mm,
its own communication. It's like when you see it, you go, it's like the brain, and we know the brain is fat and water, but all that network, all those neurons between is what's we don't even know what's going on. We can't
yeah.
even like we can't even seven fathoms it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. So it's very cool. And I love like the medicinal effects of different mushrooms like shiitake and
What are the
lion's
shiitake?
mane.
What? So I know lion's mane, what it does. What does shiitake do?
Shiitake helps with inflammation and it's actually really well known for helping fight cancer cells. So it's really good for the body for that, for boosting your immune system. Then there's lion's mane, and lion's mane is for your brain health. And we want to cook that, right? Oh no, we don't want to cook that one. We want to eat that one,
Well,
not overly
both.
cooked. Yeah.
Yeah. So it
Yeah. We
looks
want
like a
to
brain.
activate. Yes. Yeah.
Lion's mane looks like a brain, and they forage it, and well, Paul Stamets actually grows it in the lab too, but you can people also go foraging for it,
Hmm.
and so you can slice it up like steaks. That's what people do, but then of course they grind it, and it's one of the only. It's been studied extensively, and it's one of the only actually things on the planet that's known to help the brain and help cellular damage,
Hmm.
and inflammation, and even
Yeah.
support the neural pathways, create in the brain too. There's very few things that they've shown to proven to help that. So lion's
Yeah.
mane is the
Yeah.
brain.
It's a really good one, and it's really good prebiotic too. Mushrooms are
Right.
really good
Turkey
prebiotic.
tail is a
Yep.
really good prebiotic as well. I've
Yep.
got a
Yep.
whole I've got a whole over here on my shelf. I've got like 10 different bottles of different mushroom blends. I've got turkey tail, agaricon. Have you heard of that one?
No.
Agaricon, they've
No.
done studies. Oh my gosh, they did studies with COVID, and taking agaricon along with, oh, I can't remember what it was, but agaricon has been known to help heal from a virus and even prevent
Mm,
viruses. So I take an agaricon when I travel and stuff. So then you just
nice.
take one. And a lot of the
Wow.
mushrooms, not all of them, but a lot of them you can do on an empty stomach.
Yep. Yeah,
So there,
oyster mushrooms are really nice too. I love how they look. They're like little aliens,
yes.
aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, and chaga and reishi, you see those in a
Oh,
lot of drinks, and
powerful.
they're in
So what do
powder
those do?
forms. They're antioxidant powerhouses. They're like
Mm-hmm.
loaded with polyphenols, and
Mm-hmm.
they're amazing. There's superfoods.
Yeah.
They're great for your immune system. Yeah.
That's why people you see all over Instagram and stuff, like the mushroom drinks, the powdered drinks you can add to your smoothie or your coffee or whatever, or sprinkle on it, or or eat
Hmm.
the mushrooms. I mean, that's great too when you can find the mushrooms, and you can find a lot of these unique mushrooms in organic health food stores and also farmers markets. People are growing all these mushrooms now, and
Hmm.
also. Asian grocery stores. They have
Oh,
all of them.
and even garden shops like there's a great little place here called Gaze Seed, and they have little starter kits. So they
Right.
got the little mushroom. It's like a little bag or a little box, and you bring it home and it just grows.
Yeah, except for mushrooms are pretty finicky to
Oh
grow.
yes, well yeah,
They're you have to
you
have
got to
the
watch it for
right.
the mold and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, yeah, they're
Yeah,
pretty finicky. I've got a friend of mine who grows all kinds of mushrooms, and that they need, and different kinds of mushrooms require different ecosystems too.
they
So
do.
Pacific Northwest is really good for mushrooms because it's damp and cool, which is
And
what
the
they really
world is
like.
changing, like there's so many studies now on a lot of people when they, I'm sure when they saw the line magic mushrooms, they're thinking, oh, are they going to talk about, the other ones, psilocybin and all that stuff? There's so many studies now going on with depression and anxiety and mental health issues. Like there's, oh my gosh, like the studies now. I'm trying to keep up on all that and keep an open mind to the reports coming in and the proof is there. They're really getting a lot of results. Hey,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you've been
I've
studying it.
been yeah, I've been studying this like crazy, and so it's not fully legal all over Canada yet, but you can order it online. You can order
Mm,
microdosing online mushrooms, and it'll be made by the government soon.
mm-hmm.
Like weed is as well. The mushrooms, specifically psilocybin mushrooms. So
Yeah,
you're not supposed to use the word magic mushrooms anymore. That's like a term
yeah.
that's derogatory because it is a magic. It is magical in the way that it helps the brain tremendously. It calms the nervous
Mm-hmm.
system. Specifically, psilocybin mushrooms have been shown in John Hopkins studies to helps with the rumination part of the brain.
Mm,
So it makes your brain more malleable for learning information. And it also helps with the rumination part. So people coming off of antidepressants and anti-anxiety, they can transition over to the psilocybin mushroom to microdose it,
mm,
and it helps support your journey of healing to heal from your depression, anxiety. It supports it tremendously, and
yeah.
I've seen miraculous results with people using it for trauma, PTSD,
Mm,
ADHD. People that
mm,
don't, some people need ADHD medication, and that's fine. But some people don't want to take it, and so
yeah.
they'll take the psilocybin microdosing. So, and
Mm,
it's still very new, sort of maybe like how weed was 10 or 15 years ago,
yeah.
and we're still finding out so much more about the medicinal factors of CBD and THC, or the combo
Yeah.
of it. But then now it's just starting on mushrooms, and it's not legal yet. I mean, it's legal for therapeutic uses in like
Mm-hmm.
Washington and
Mm-hmm.
Oregon and Colorado here in the US. And in Canada, like I said, you can order it online. So it's getting, and for therapeutic uses, they are using it. So
Yeah,
it's
and
quite
it's important.
exciting.
Yeah, it is. And it's really important that people, when they start researching this, that they work with somebody who's well rehearsed in it,
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
has some testimonials, has, whatever. They have a clinic set up or they have an office or they have a background where they really have studied it, right? It's
Yeah.
important because I know I have patients that come in and go, they traveled and they've tried it somewhere and it really helped. And I'm like, wow, that's great. Give me more information about it because I wanna know that. I wanna know what's
Mm-hmm.
out there, what's, keep an open mind. And
Mm-hmm.
it's funny because even when pot became legal here in Newfoundland and in Canada, I mean, I was never a pot person. It would always, I don't know, it affected me differently. I
Mm-hmm.
just, it took me down. So I'm already high enough. That's what I used to say. I'm already high enough. I don't need a and so I go with some friends into the one of the places that have it's like a smorgasbord of combos and
Mm-hmm.
things. And I'm going, how do you know what you want? How do you know what you need? Like we need more education around all this stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people are just walking in going, well, so and so that said that helped them sleep and that helped their anxiety. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm going, we need more. We need to have an open conversation about it. And
Yeah, Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. There's a I recommend that I think you watched it too. I watched it 4 or 5 times. It's in book form. There's podcasts about it, and then Netflix came out with a docu-series called How to Change Your Mind. And it talks about the history of psychedelics, of where even the name psychedelic came from in the 50s, how they came up with it. And then it talks about each psychedelic in, so mushrooms are like the third episode or so, but it's interesting to see that, they talk about the war on drugs, and that's why we all have such programming against magic mushrooms and marijuana and on
Hmm.
acid and ketamine and like all this stuff that's now showing so much promise in helping all the crisis of mental health in the world. And because there was a big, mass hypnosis programming against on the war on drugs in the 60s that was
Hmm.
targeted to the hippies and black people, because they were the ones that were partaking in weed and psychedelics. And so they were against the war, most of these groups. And so it was Nixon trying to repress these groups and put them in jail. So they go into great detail about that. And even ecstasy, ecstasy it is, gosh, I can't think on the tip of my tongue of what it actually is, but it's used also in the medical world to help PTSD. And,
Hmm.
and, and we were told, it was even on Oprah, that it drains your spinal fluid and it creates holes in your brain. And they even had like a skull where there was holes in the brain, and it was all fake. It was all
Wow.
fake. And then
Yeah.
documentary shows that they were trying to force society to be against drugs. And that's why it's still, people will still have a about it, because
Yeah.
we've been force fed and sent wrong information. So I
Hmm.
recommend How to Change Your Mind on Netflix and Fantastic Fungi, because it's
Yeah.
it's it's helping so many people.
Well, this is why we do these types of conversations, it's just to get the information out there. And, I'm always researching, you're always researching.
Mm-hmm.
And, if somebody hears something that interests them, then study it further, watch these films. And this is how I gather the information and get more and more comfortable with things. Because, we got to, dive into whole body wellness, and that's mind and body. Mental
Mm-hmm.
health issues are rising and stress is rising, and we're trying to calm the nervous system. We're trying to calm the mind. We're trying to calm as a human
Mm-hmm.
species, right? We're trying to just, you know, try and get, I don't know, we can't even find
Slow
control anymore.
down.
Slow
Slow
down.
down.
Yeah. 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 And these are some things, these conversations, I don't know, it's so needed. And
Yeah.
if there's a medication not helping somebody, and then there's an herb or a mushroom or a plant or a food or a conversation that's going to connect something, then we need to have that conversation and explore it and go, I wonder, is
Mm-hmm.
this suitable for me? Is this something I should do? Like, we need to start letting the conditioning and the stories that we're holding around things. I'm always letting stories fall away. Oh my God. I remember growing up and my mother and father would say, if you get into them drugs now, your brain's fried. You smell markers, your brain's fried. Going around smelling gasoline, your brain's fried. Like everything was about frying your brain. And I'm going, oh, I don't want to fry my brain.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What goes in there? And a lot of
Oh.
people have heard that kind of stuff,
Mm-hmm.
in the world that we
Mm.
live in. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's all about education. Eddi and I
Mm-hmm.
love to learn new things, and but this happens to be a passion of ours. Learning, and for sure, but also, Eddi's loving the seaweed, and I'm loving the mushrooms, and we're both studying both, and we want to share that with you. And hopefully, you'll start with, just going on some of these websites, just trying one. You don't have to try all of it,
Mm-hmm.
but try things and see if they work. What are you drawn to? What intuitively are you drawn to? Because all these components of these different medicines are here to help us.
Yeah. And your body will tell you. Your body, when we eat food that disagrees with us, our body tells us pretty quick. And when we eat something that really resonates, the body goes, yum, we want more. So we're feeding a big community in there of microbes, right? Our ecosystem inside. We have to feed the body, feed the mind.
Yeah, and listen, like Eddi said, and I've never seen anything so fast like Eddi's for her skin. Like if she puts anything on her skin that her body doesn't like, and it tells her immediately.
Oh yeah, right away. Or my gut, you know.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Or I'll taste something like I know.
And your tongue will get itchy right away. Right away.
Yeah. It's interesting.
Yeah. So that was fun. That was very fun. I hope you all found it interesting, and maybe you know something more even that we don't know about, and you can share with us your journey with it too. We love hearing from you guys.
We do. So thanks for listening, and a shout out to Greats Co.
Oh, that's great. Yes. I can't wait to get my yummy samplers. All right. Love you, Ed.
Love you. Thanks for listening.